So, let's get right into it. What on earth could a high-energy physics lab possibly have to do with the browser tabs you have open right now? It sounds like a total non sequitur, right? But honestly, the language that builds the entire internet, it started in a place you would never ever guess.
It really does seem like a crazy connection, doesn't it? But the answer is, well, it's everything. Stick with me and I'll show you exactly what I mean.
Yep, you're seeing that right. The World Wide Web was born at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research. Back in 1989, these physicists had a problem. They needed to share research papers instantly with colleagues using different computers, sometimes in different countries. Waiting for physical journals to get published was just agonizingly slow for the speed they were working at.
So, picture this. We're in a lab in Switzerland in the late 80s. There's a British scientist here who's just trying to solve this practical problem for his coworkers. But in doing so, he's about to accidentally change the world forever.
The problem was pretty straightforward. All this valuable information was trapped on individual computers. So, the solution, cooked up by Tim Berners-Lee, was just as elegant in its simplicity. He thought, what if we create a universal language that any computer could use to display, and, this is the most important part, link documents together. And that language? Well, that was HTML.
And here it is, the very first web page in all its glory. I know, it's not much to look at, is it? No fancy graphics, no pop-up ads, just text. But those blue underlined words, that was everything. The power to just click and instantly jump to another document, no matter where it was in the world, that was the hypertext revolution that kicked this whole thing off.
Okay, so we know why it was created, but what is HTML really? Let's peel back the curtain and look at the language that's the backbone of pretty much every single site on the internet today.
So, HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. And please don't let the name scare you. Markup just means it's a language made of these simple little labels called tags. You just wrap them around your text to tell the browser what to do. You know, hey, make this a heading, or make this a paragraph, or turn this into a link. It's really just a set of simple instructions.
And here is the secret sauce. Everything in HTML is what we call an element. You've got a start tag, like that P, then you've got your actual content, the words you're writing, and then you close it off with an end tag, that /P. Sometimes that opening tag has a little extra info called an attribute, which just gives the browser more detail. And that's it. That is the fundamental building block of every web page. The absolute best way to think about HTML is like it's the skeleton of a web page. It's not in charge of the pretty colors or the cool fonts or any of the fancy animations. That's what other technologies are for. HTML's job is just to provide the basic, fundamental structure. Here's the head, here are the arms, here are the legs. Simple as that. Now, once this beautifully simple idea got out into the world, oh boy, things got interesting and fast. The invention of HTML basically kicked off this massive race to build the best window for people to look through to see this new World Wide Web. In the very beginning, the web looked like this. Browsers like links were totally text-based. You just use your keyboard arrows to navigate around. I mean, it was incredibly useful for getting information for sure, but it wasn't exactly the exciting, mainstream thing we know today.
And then this happened. In 1993, a browser called Mosaic came along, and it did something that was absolutely revolutionary for the time. It put images right there next to the text in the same window. And just like that, the web wasn't just for researchers anymore. It was suddenly a visual, engaging, and fun medium for everybody. This was the spark that lit the whole bonfire.
Riding that huge wave of excitement, Mosaic's lead developer went on to co-found a new company. And in 1994, they released Netscape Navigator. It was fast, it was easy, and for a good while there, Netscape was the internet for most people. It just completely dominated the market. But there was a sleeping giant. Microsoft saw the web's massive potential and licensed Mosaic's code to build their own browser, Internet Explorer. And then, by bundling it for free with every single copy of Windows 95, they basically used their operating system monopoly to absolutely crush Netscape, ending their reign and starting a whole new, and frankly, kind of stagnant era for the web. So after all that drama, what are we left with today? Let's take a closer look at the actual anatomy of a web page and see what those building blocks look like in the wild. When you get right down to it, it's all about a handful of essential parts. You've got tags for your main headline, tags for paragraphs of text for putting in an image, and of course the anchor tag, the A tag, for creating those clickable links that make the web, well, a web. And this is really the magic trick right here.
You can start with some simple text formatted with headings and paragraphs, but then, with just one little tag, you can turn some of that text into a classic, blue, clickable hyperlink. That one simple instruction is the core power of the entire web.
And I think this is so cool. Even the most complex, interactive websites and apps you use every single day are still built on this exact same foundation. Underneath all the slick design and modern code, there's always a skeleton made of these simple, human-readable tags.
So let's bring it all home. After decades of just explosive growth and change, what's the real legacy of this humble language that started out in a physics lab?
Now, of course, HTML hasn't just been sitting still. It's grown up over the years, it's added really crucial features like forms, so we can actually type stuff in, tables for organizing data, and more recently, with HTML5, the built-in ability to handle video and audio without needing any weird plugins. It's adapted, for sure, but its core idea of simple structural tags has never changed. And this is what it looks like today. HTML5 is the standard that powers our modern web. It's way more powerful and flexible than the original, but it's still just that skeleton. And really, it's just an amazing testament to a simple idea, designed so well that it's lasted for decades in literally the fastest changing industry on the planet.
So a physicist's simple need to share documents ended up creating a language that connected the entire world. It really makes you wonder, right? What seemingly small problem is someone trying to solve right now that's going to accidentally become the foundation for the next 30 years of technology?